Hi, my name is Howard Brown. I'm about to share with you my view, my philosophy of Christian education. I have a prepared script that I'll be reading from just to give you an idea so I can keep on on task and not deviate as I often I'm prone to do because when I'm talking about myself, I get excited and I try to give more information than I need to. As an educator, my aim is to aid in the restoration of each student into the image God had originally intended him or her to be through the use of critical reflection in the context of a corporate learning, in context of corporate learning. One experience has shaped my understanding of the purpose of education. Some time ago, the superintendent of education and the principal met with me to discuss some of the challenges I had been experiencing in one of my classes. For them, what I was doing went counter to good educational principles. At one point during the meeting, the principal or the superintendent turned to me um, and said my job was to inspire. Inspire? I felt he was being condescending, and when he said so, of course, being there is not to inspire but to educate, as I thought. So, to say the least, I was really offended. But since then, I have come to realize that he was correct in his assessment of the purpose of teaching, which is to inspire. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, to inspire someone is to fill that person with the urge or the ability to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. Teaching for me has two primary purposes as a result of my understanding of what inspiration is. One, to equip students with skills and to think critically, and also to inspire. Never, not every student that walks in my class wants to be there. For most of them, they were going through the motion. They had to be there because it is required by law and their parents, quote unquote, forced them. If given an opportunity, many of them would not attend school. Some students would sit in their cars, who drove to school would sit in their cars in the parking lot of the school for hours before entering the building, sometimes missing 2 to 3 classes. One of my students claimed that high school is a daycare for older kids. The valedictorian, in her valedictorian speech, declared that she was free to do what she wanted as a result of graduation. If the valedictorian feels that way about school, I can just imagine what others feel who are not as equipped and intrinsically motivated as she was. Maybe all feel that high school is a daycare for older kids. Because they feel this way about school and many of the subjects they are required to take, uh, it's the job of teachers to inspire them to learn. Teachers must create within them an urge to do so or feel something, and that something is to learn. I've been fortunate to have had several students to choose to either to major in economics or political science as a result of my being their instructor. I want to believe that they have been inspired to do so. Had they not had me, I don't think I want to believe that they would have chosen a different path. So I felt that in that situation, I inspired these young men and women to pursue something that they had not before thought of. Many of the teachers that I worked with, myself included, do not have a degree or any training in education, despite holding many advanced degrees. Their approach to education is informed by their educational experience, so not being familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, their quizzes and tests amount to nothing more than rote memorization, simply remembering facts or regurgitating facts. There's little to no application, creativity, and analysis required of our students. As a result, I found that many of our students struggle with questions that require them more than to recall facts. There was simply no creativity in their writing. They have to be led every step of the way. So the challenge with teaching for memorization is that the world is not a collection of facts. Life will always present challenges, that do not always fall perfectly within our facts. Knowing how to apply those facts to navigate environmental factors and societal challenges is essential to being a productive citizen. Therefore, being able to think critically is more important than memorizing facts. Until now, I had not thought about how my Christian worldview connects to what I believe the purpose of education were and my approach in the classroom. I want to think I have compartmentalized my life, and that nothing I believe of God determines what I do in the classroom. But upon deeper reflection, as a result of this exercise, I do see a correlation between the two. The text that articulates those concepts is Isaiah 1:18, in which God invites us to reason with Him, that promises the hope of change. Ellen G. White, in the book Steps to Christ, asserts that it was God's intent for man to develop all his faculties when he cursed the ground. Both Ellen G. White and Isaiah seem to suggest that for man to develop all his faculty, he must exert some effort, not simply recite facts, but through reasoning about life's experiences, he will attain heights never before imagined. In other words, man will become inspired to be agents of change when through the challenges that confront him. When he goes through the challenges that confronts him. There are two educational principles that guide my pedagogy: personalized learning and critical reflection. Regarding the former, I believe that students should have some autonomy over education. When students are allowed to determine what they want to learn, when they want to learn, and how they want to learn it, they're more interested. For example, I gave students a choice in whether they want to take notes or not. When they chose to take notes, they became more engaged in the learning experience and usually perform better on tests and quizzes. Besides autonomy, if students are made to reflect critically on their education, they will make better decisions morally, economically, politically, and societally or socially. Far too often, many of our students make poor choices morally because they are not made to reflect critically on their learning. Too often, many of our young ladies who go through our school become pregnant as soon as they leave the confines of their parents' homes. Students who are made to reflect critically see ways to grow personally, improve their communication, and contribute significantly to their respective areas of interest. Sister Mercer and others all describe the stages of learning: initial acquisition, advanced acquisition, proficiency, maintenance, and generalization. Then the goal of learning is based on that is generalization, the stage when a person is able to transfer learning to a new situation. Then that person is truly educated. According to Bernie McCarthy, there are 4 different learning styles or learners. Type 1 learners are those who prefer feeling and reflection. Type 2 are learners who like reflecting and thinking. Type 3 are learners who think and doing. Type 4 are learners who like creating and acting. Instructional strategies that address differing learning style involves large and small group. There are advantages of both strategies. Learn large groups prepare students for the type of setting they will be asked to function in when they move on through the educational experience. Large groups allow for teachers to interact with students with diverse skills, which speaks to the need for small group. It is true that many of our schools do not have the resources necessary to meet the educational needs of our student population, that some learning disabilities. The goal is for heterogeneous groups, but sometimes placing students who are familiarity as similar learning needs in groups allow for more teaching focus. Groups address the needs of all types of learners, whether the student has a disability or not. So to recap, basically my philosophy is this: 1, we need to learn how to inspire students. 2, we need to learn how to teach students to think critically. When we teach students to think critically, we can meet their educational needs despite the type of learning style that they prefer. I I think that when we do all these things, when we combine all these things, inspiration and creative thinking in terms of the student's need, we can become better educators, and we can create students who are more equipped to deal with the challenges that society offers. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and it's time with your busy schedule to basically reflect on the thoughts that I've shared just now. Thank you very much, and pray for us as we continue to educate our kids. God bless you.